Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Season 2 of Midday with Trey. I'm your host, Trey. Let's get right into the show. Let's get right into it. Today's guest is the Director of Strategic Initiatives and Assessment right here at Coastal Carolina University. Let's give it up for Harry Titus. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so if you could tell the audience just a little bit about yourself, just like a brief background.
Yeah, so again, I'm Harry Titus. I'm a two-time alum of Coastal, so I got my undergrad and graduate degrees from Coastal Carolina University. Okay. I've worked at Coastal before.
Right.
I worked here in 2017, serving as a case manager in the Dean of Students office.
Okay.
Went and spent some time at Elon University.
That's in North Carolina, right?
North Carolina, yeah. So small, private,
right.
liberal arts school in North Carolina. Returned to Coastal August of 2021.
Okay.
And I've held several roles in student affairs since being back.
Mm-hmm.
Started as director of off-campus student services and community engagement. Then moved to the Associate Dean of Students world for some time, and then recently started a job within the Office of the Vice President of Student Affairs as Director of Strategic Initiatives and Assessment, all while trying to finish a doctorate degree, man. I'm a few months shy of defending a dissertation and having a doctorate degree, so I'm really excited about that.
You're almost there, almost to the finish line.
Almost there, man.
Okay, so why student affairs? How did you first get involved with that? Like, what was your first, toe into, the pool of student affairs?
Yeah, so I would tell you, I think it started as a student leader.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was like, no, who goes to college to then work with college students, right? That was that didn't make sense.
Right.
And so it really started there, and I had a lot of folks pouring into me, telling me, you're going to work in student affairs. And I was like, nope, I won't do it. So right after undergrad, I took a job working for the Solicitor's Intervention Program. So I'm right here in Horry County doing juvenile diversion and alcohol education programs.
Yeah.
So helping folks that may have been charged with alcohol violation or juveniles that were kind of either incarcerated or having the potential of being incarcerated, and helping them sort of get reacclimated back into their schools. And then I knew I wanted to go back to school and get my master's degree. And so I was like, how can I do that where it's not super expensive?
Right.
And I found this job back at Coastal, and it kind of took over my career in higher ed, and I haven't looked back since. So
that's cool. Okay, so you finished 2 degrees, and now you're working on your 3rd. Why is education so important to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a believer in that. I truly believe that education is still one of the greatest ways to get someone out of poverty, get someone to explore the world, get someone to really get out of their current situation. And so, and I also believe that there's something about education that no one can ever take away from you. And so for me, that has been my sort of foundation on why I continue to pursue higher education.
Right.
But in addition to my future career goals of wanting to be a vice president of student affairs and potentially a president of a college, I know that I need a higher, I need that terminal degree to have access, to those opportunities. And so that has, really forced me, in a sense, to continue.
Yeah.
And so I've been in school my entire life.
Yeah.
I have not taken a break yet, and so I'm excited about the break. I will tell you that.
I bet. I'm in the process of getting my master's degree as well at Coastal. But when I graduated in undergrad, I was like, I'm not going back to school.
No.
I wasn't a fan of high school, but I loved college, especially at Coastal, because I'm sure Coastal has such a dynamic community, a dynamic culture that I don't know. I haven't seen anywhere else. Obviously, I've never been anywhere else. I'm working my 2nd degree from Coastal, but it's just something special that you feel attached to it. Yeah.
It's true. I think that I tell folks all the time, this place is very special, and hence why I came back. I came back because this place poured so much into me, and to have that opportunity to now do the same for other students is so important. But it is a special place. We have a dynamic student population like no other.
Right.
And we as students and now alum, we're very loyal to this place, and we want to see this place excel and exceed in every way possible. And so I think that what makes this place very dynamic.
Right.
Students don't come here just to be here most times. They come here for lots of reasons, but for a lot of students, this is their opportunity to take on the next phase of their lives. And so I think a lot of our students are very committed to this place, and I think that really makes this place special.
Yeah, and for me, when I first came to Coastal, not to get too deep, but I was going through somewhat of an identity crisis, trying to find out who I was, trying to find out what people that I liked hanging out with. In high school, I kind of cut off all my friends because I learned they didn't have the same values as I did. They didn't have the same kind of intuition and I don't know, mindset as I did.
Sure.
And not to seem like all high and mighty or anything by any means, but, you know, I just kind of realized that, and then going to college is like, you have so many people that you can choose to hang out with. You know, you got your roommates, you have people in your class, people you hang out with in clubs. And so for me, Coastal really had that, like that, I can choose who I want to be. I can, you know, get a taste of this, get a taste of that, or I could do it all. And that's what I felt at Coastal.
And I'll tell you, that's the beauty of what we do in student affairs.
Right.
We allow students we assist students in really learning about everything really outside of the classroom.
Yeah.
So, you know, what does their involvement look like? What does belonging look like, right?
True.
And we also help students navigate those identities and kind of really figuring out who they are.
Right.
And I always tell students that when they come to college, they're going to learn what they love about themselves and what they hate about themselves, right? And you're going to be like, all right, I know I don't want to be that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be a part of my story.
Yeah.
And so that's what the beauty of what we get to do. And I have so many conversations with students who are working through that same process.
Right.
And I'm able to help them navigate that. Or now in my new role, I'm able to think structurally around how the division can help students navigate belonging and involvement and success during their time here. So I get to do all of that.
All
it's really
of that,
exciting, man. Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, what exactly do you do in your position now?
It's really cool, man. And it's really exciting. It's new here.
Right.
We haven't had this position in student affairs before.
Okay.
And our Vice President of Student Affairs, Dr. Yvonne Hernandez-Friedman, who you had in season 1,
yes.
She's a visionary. And so I'm really excited to, one, get to work directly with her. But in this new role, I get to really think about the strategy and the strategic plan for our division and sort of what we're going to do as a division to move the division forward.
Right.
I get to look at our infrastructure of the division and say, all right, these things are working, these things are not.
Yeah.
I get to help with the assessment. I get to help assess our programs, our services, our resources, right? And I get to then work with the assistant vice presidents and the managers of these areas and really help them build a plan to sort of better enhance what they're doing. We're doing great things.
Yeah.
I think, but I get to help them then tell that story through numbers and data and assessment. In addition to special projects for the Vice President of Student Affairs. And so I get to work directly alongside her on initiatives for the division, special projects for the division. And I'm really excited about that, again, because I get to kind of have my hand in every area of our division now. And I'm really excited to be able to do that.
That's cool. So I'm going to jump back real quick. So during your time at Coastal, either undergrad or graduate, what type of things were you involved in? Maybe clubs or organizations or what were you not? Maybe
I was probably the student that I have conversations with and say, hey, let's think about how overly involved you are, right? I was probably that student, but I started my involvement in Residence Hall Association, which is an involvement through University Housing. And my freshman year, I became the president of Residence Hall Association.
Oh,
so
cool, yeah.
I then became a tour guide, so I was very involved with admissions. I was an AIM pioneer.
Okay.
I spent a small stint in SGA. I was a SNAP mentor, and I was president and vice president of my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay.
And so I did all those things. And I would say there were times where I probably a little too involved.
Yeah.
But those things really allowed me to sort of lay my foundation for what now I get to do in my career. And so I don't regret that, but I think there were times where I would have told myself now as an administrator, let's think about your involvement a little bit. You're a little too involved.
And that's the other side of, there are so many things you could get overbearing or, overworked just because there's so many things to do, so many things you want to accomplish, but, it worked out for you.
Worked out for me. So,
so I mean, you can't really go wrong. But I did want to ask, what advice do you have for maybe students or potential students who may be in the college field, who maybe want to go into student affairs, or have a position like you one day?
Yeah, I like to tell people it's a passion, right? I think working on a college campus is a passion.
Right.
You're not gonna make millions.
Right.
Being in student affairs or working on a college campus in majority of in the areas, but I will say that you get something that you don't, I believe, get in a lot of other fields, and you truly get to be a part or a piece of the puzzle in the development of someone's life. And so I would tell folks that are interested, especially if you're in undergrad, really think about what your involvement is and kind of begin to network now.
Yeah.
I would tell you networking and being able to learn from senior affairs, senior leaders on campuses and also folks on your same level is such a huge asset to your development as an individual if you want to work in higher ed. And so I think finding that mentor, networking, having your board of directors of people that can support you. But also, as you think about the next level and you think about grad school, think about, are there opportunities to get graduate assistantship so that you can get experience while in grad school?
Yeah.
That may not be a full-time professional job, but it's more of that paraprofessional job where you can get that experience, learn what you love in higher ed, learn what you don't like. There's so many avenues, right?
Yeah.
Just the two of us, two very different avenues, but we
Right.
both get to interact with students. We both get to come to this beautiful place and work on a college campus every day. And so I like to tell folks, one size doesn't fit all when you think about working in higher ed. And there's so many avenues to either get in higher ed or to watch your your trajectory in higher ed can go many, many different directions. So you have a lot of opportunities for sure.
Okay, cool. So this is a part of the interview where we speed it up a little bit.
All right.
So we have a new segment on season 2. It is called Rapid Response.
Okay.
And it's basically like a short form version of categories.
All right.
And so I'm going to ask you 3 questions. I'll go in order. But to each of these questions, you have to name 3 items in that category. Okay. Okay. So are you ready?
I think so.
Okay, cool. So we're going to start with this. Top 3 favorite genres of music.
Oh man, rap.
Okay.
R&B, and I like country music.
Okay, country, okay.
Yeah, I do. I like country music.
Okay, cool. Okay, so top 3 favorite movies or TV shows.
Oh, that's hard. That's a good one. Moonlight is one of my favorite movies.
I agree, yep.
I love both Black Panthers. And then I think television show, I can watch anything on ESPN. So I can sit in the television, in front of the television and watch anything on ESPN.
Okay, fair enough. And final one, what are your top 3 favorite parts about your job, either now or previous jobs?
Yeah. I think my top 3 favorite parts about my job is I get to work with students and be a part of their life journey. And I get to work with some of the finest and most amazing colleagues.
Yes.
I will put coastal colleagues up against any other colleagues in the world. And then 3, I think I love the opportunities. There's so many opportunities. And so, this next few years I may do this, but I have the opportunity to think about, switching to something different in higher ed. And so I think the opportunities are limitless in higher ed for sure. Okay,
cool. Well, just a little known fact, actually, before we end this interview. If you didn't know, Titus and I actually were on the same team for the winning team for the faculty staff, alumni versus students basketball game during homecoming week. So if you didn't know, we're on the championship team together.
We're winners.
I scored a bucket. Did you?
I scored time with the students.
So it was a win-win for everybody. But we thank you so much, Harry, for coming on the show, and we can't wait to see all the great things that you will go on to accomplish.
I appreciate it, Trey, and same to you.
Thank you.
So honored to be on Midday with Trey. And so thank you for inviting me, and I look forward to all the things you're going to do as well in your career. So I'm really excited to watch that as well.
All right, it's that time again. Time for the hat of the week. So for this week's hat, I have this Polar Plunge beanie. And for this Polar Plunge, this was in support of Special Olympics in South Carolina. My girlfriend is a special education teacher here in Horry County. And her and her school raised, I think, over $3,000 in support of Special Olympics, and her class will be going to Special Olympics when it happens. But I did not do the Polar Plunge. I did not jump in the water. She did, but I did support by buying this hat for this beanie hat. So I did want to show you guys. So we do things for good causes around here. But shout out to Whitmore Park for raising over $3,000 in support of Special Olympics. So that is the hat of the week. All right, that wraps up this week's episode of Midday with Trey. Be sure to follow all of our social media pages down below, somewhere around here. Stay up to date with all things Midday with Trey. We have some behind-the-scenes stuff on there and some, just random stuff on there that you may not see on the YouTube channel. So make sure you guys follow all of our social media pages, and I will see you guys next week, same time, same place. Bye.